Fran Brown is bringing back both of his coordinators for next season. One was pretty obvious to bring back, the other, not so much.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the number one sports podcasting network. It's your team every day. And of course, we are always free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And on today's show, I cannot believe that Fran Brown is starting Joe Filardi this Saturday at Notre Dame. We'll talk about that later on here on this mini podcast. But first, Fran Brown is bringing back both his offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, and his defensive coordinator, Elijah Robinson, for next season. We'll dive into it right now. So Fran Brown had his weekly press conference on Monday, and it was actually pretty eventful. So let's get right to it. Obviously, the big news with the coordinators both being back, Jeff Nixon, this one was pretty obvious. We have seen under Jeff Nixon this offense not only work, but rank amongst the best offenses in all of college football. So to nobody's surprise, Fran Brown would obviously want Jeff Nixon back. After all, last season, we all witnessed Kyle McCord having a record-setting year for Syracuse in this offense. He led the nation in passing yards. And even this season, in the first 4 games of the year, Steve Angeli was leading the nation in passing before, of course, he suffered that torn Achilles against Clemson. So we know that this offense under Jeff Nixon, it can work. As long as, he has a functioning quarterback, a quarterback that can complete 60% of his passes, just a competent one. We're not asking for an all-world talent like Kyle McCord, but could you do better than Rickie Collins? I think so. And we, I think, witnessed that in the first 4 games of this season and how the offense performed with Steve Angeli. So that's good. I am very happy that Jeff Nixon will be back as the offensive coordinator for Syracuse next season. That's good news. Elijah Robinson, I'm not going to lie to you all, ladies and gentlemen. I did not want him back for next year as Syracuse's defensive coordinator. And the reason why is simply because of Syracuse's performance on defense over the past 2 seasons. And actually, 2024 is more egregious than 2025. Even though the 2024 numbers are statistically better for Syracuse's defense, because that defense had a lot more talent than this year's defense. The 2024 defense, it featured Fadil Diggs, Justin Barron, Marlo Wax. I understand he missed a lot of time last year, but still, when he was healthy, he's a really good player. Clarence Lewis, Elijah Clark. All of those guys got looks for the NFL this past summer, some of which are playing in the NFL right now. He also had Murad Watson on that defense last year. And the numbers with a more talented group, well, points allowed last season, bottom 5 in the ACC. Total yards allowed, 12th in the ACC. Rushing yards allowed, bottom 5 in the conference. And passing yards allowed was 9th in the ACC. So mediocre in passing defense under Elijah Robinson. Those numbers across the board, given the talent that Syracuse's defense had last year, combined with the fact that Syracuse's offense led the conference in time of possession, so the defense was not on the field a whole lot, I think that's underachieving. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. I thought the Syracuse defense last year underachieved relative to their talent that they had. So that was year 1 under Elijah Robinson. Has it gotten any better this season? Not really. I'm not going to fault the defense entirely for this year because at times we have seen the defense get off to good starts and then all of a sudden just crumble because the offense can't do anything. Case in point, We witnessed that in the last game against Miami, where the defense, forced a punt on 4 consecutive drives to start the game. But then after that, obviously, was not very good for this defense. And it has not been very good all year. The numbers speak for themselves. Points allowed, bottom 3 in the ACC. Total yards allowed, bottom 3 in the ACC. Rushing yards allowed, bottom 3 in the ACC. And passing yards allowed, 12th in the conference. So overall, under Elijah Robinson, the Syracuse defense in 2024 and 2025 has not performed at even a mediocre level, let alone a good level. So I don't know what to tell you. Comment your thoughts in the comments section below, I guess. But Fran Brown, he's bringing back Elijah Robinson as this defensive coordinator. And so I hope, at least, since they're not going to change the coordinator of the defense, that they can really beef up the personnel for next season. Maybe they get a lot more talent than even what they had in 2024. And maybe Elijah Robinson then can produce a very good Syracuse football defense for next season. I have my doubts, but since he's coming back, I got no choice but to root for it. So comment your thoughts in the comments section below. Now coming up, Fran Brown, again. I cannot believe he is starting Joe Filardi next week. So let's talk about it right after this. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. I highly suggest you put that first $5 bet on Notre Dame football money line against Syracuse. That way you get $300 in bonus bets as long as Notre Dame wins the game, which, as we're about to talk about with Joe Filardi starting for Syracuse, is very likely to happen. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Before we get into Fran Brown's decision to start Joe Filardi for this Saturday's matchup against Notre Dame, I just want to state for the record, just so everyone is aware, it truly does not matter who starts at quarterback for Syracuse as far as the game outcome is concerned. No matter which quarterback Fran Brown decided to pick, Syracuse, in all likelihood, is going to get demolished this Saturday at Notre Dame. Just want to put that out for the record. Having said that, Fran Brown's decision to start Joe Filardi is setting up the kid to fail. This is a walk-on true freshman who has already made one start. He played against North Carolina, and he struggled mightily. And it was to be expected. To his credit, he was pretty good in garbage time against Miami, where he threw a touchdown. Cool. Happy for him. Congratulations. But at the end of the day, it was garbage time. How much can you really read into that heading into this matchup against Notre Dame? A Notre Dame team that's playing for its season for the rest of the season. Notre Dame cannot lose another game from here on out. Otherwise, their 2025 is going to be over. This is a game that is on the road in South Bend, Indiana. Now, the forecast for the game is actually warmer than I originally thought it was going to be. I think it'll be around mid-40s, even in the 50s at kickoff. But still, it's a very difficult environment. It's a walk-on true freshman. And Fran Brown is really going to start him. He is really starting Joe Filardi. Is that really what's best for this kid's development? Comment your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think it's best for his development? Do you think that this is valuable experience? Because to me, if you think that Joe Filardi has a future potentially with Syracuse, who knows, maybe one day he does become a full-time starting quarterback for this team. I do not think that this is the game that you want to try him out. I think the answer was pretty obvious on what Fran Brown should have done. And you might not want to hear that answer, but I would have rolled with Rickie Collins. And the reason why is because Syracuse owes Rickie Collins nothing at the end of this season. He does not have a future with this team. He will not be back for 2026. Let him face the Wolves of Notre Dame, a team that will not take its foot off the gas unless they are winning by 30 to 40 points. Let Rickie Collins face that. Putting up a walk-on true freshman in Joe Filardi on the road at Notre Dame is setting up the kid to fail. It is coaching malpractice, in my opinion. And look, I hope to be wrong about it. I hope that Joe Filardi goes out and he has a terrific game. I do. I'm rooting for him. And if he struggles, I'm certainly not going to blame him. This is 100% on Fran Brown one way or another. And I do not believe that he is making the correct decision. But what do I know? I'm just a podcast host that is sharing his opinion. Comment your thoughts in the comments section below. Who would you have started this week? Joe Filardi? Rickie Collins? Remember that Luke Carney is not an option, although Fran Brown kind of hinted that he could be an option. But Luke Carney only has one more game that he can play in before the red shirt goes up. I think it would make the most sense for that to be against Boston College, which is the final game of the season, not this week against Notre Dame. So comment your thoughts in the comment section below, what you would have done at quarterback. But at the end of the day, this Saturday, it will be Joe Filardi. Now, as far as what's coming up on this podcast in the near future, we got a lot of content coming your way, so you may want to pay attention real quick. Tonight, Syracuse Basketball. They got a game at 9 p.m. Eastern. They are taking on Monmouth at home. There will be a full post-game reaction podcast here on Locked On Syracuse tomorrow. Most likely, I'm going to post it in the morning because I am actually going to record this tonight on November 18th before the Syracuse basketball game. We will have on 24/7 Sports Syracuse insider Mike McAllister to talk about basketball and football recruiting. So stay tuned for that. Tomorrow morning, that episode will premiere. I want to say give or take around 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so stay tuned. And then on Thursday, myself and Neil Adler from Inside the Loud House, we will be previewing Syracuse basketball's Vegas tournament because, of course, next Monday, the real season begins for Syracuse basketball. So that's what's coming up on Locked On Syracuse in the near future. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit subscribe. Tell all your friends about Locked On Syracuse, and I will see you all again tonight after the game.